good guy. Actually, I'm fronting him $300 to do this, so this is like from going from like no money for the past like 4 months to like someone loaned me the money to do this. So hopefully, I'm trying to do like turn this into like a fundraising project. So we'll see.
Oh wow, that's cool.
But that's what like
Good for you.
it's like the whole like guerrilla budget, go out there and do a bunch of stuff. I only wanted a 3 to 5 minute video, but we went shooting since 8 this morning.
Nice.
So I don't know how it's gonna take me like a day or two just to fucking go through it all.
That's neat.
But so my name is Shaz.
Chaz, my name's Two.
What was it? It was 2, right?
2.
Yeah, I remember. Something I wanted to ask you, because I think you have an interesting perspective on this, and I was a little short with you last time I talked with you.
That was okay.
Because we were in a housing situation in which I was kicked out of. I just made a proposal at GA to get their support for my Kickstarter to try to write this book about Occupy. And people definitely had pointed comments about me. And I explained to someone, I think I deserve that because of my interactions in Occupy have been mixed, made friends and enemies, and I have to sort of own that own that reputation I've created.
As well advised.
Yeah. Well, I think you're a generally loved guy. Like you're
attracted to you.
Yeah. But yeah, we have to be accountable.
I have my opinions.
And so you have some interesting perspective on some silly things I've done. So we were in a hotel that was being offered to occupiers, and then I was allowed to stay there. Other people brought in on a basis of trust because this lady worked there and she was offering up the empty rooms. And then I was doing my laundry in the basement and I rummaged through one of the CD carts, or like there's CDs down there. I started looking through them while I was waiting for laundry, and she thought I was looking through stuff. It escalated. There was a meeting about other things I've done, not respectful of like other places I've stayed at, and eventually people like asked me to leave. And that's my interpretation of it. I asked for some feedback and I left a little bit butthurt about it. And I don't know, it was interesting. It was like a sort of like...
Yeah. My perspective on it was that, in matter of fact, to be told, is I actually don't remember what information I heard that night that had kind of made me nervous. You know, and I believe it has something to do with like something that happened on farms.
Yeah.
I actually don't really remember because usually it's like a month and a half ago.
Yeah. No, it was around Valentine's Day, so like about maybe 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. Okay.
But yeah, we had a relationship with the farm that we lost, and so I guess some people said that I had something to do with that.
Okay. I don't remember it being that aspect of it, but I remember it was something that I was nervous about, maybe.
The eye-opening thing for me was that I've asked Jeff to leave a church before. I've basically evicted people off farms. We went up on an emergency meeting to a farm to take 2 people off who were causing problems.
Okay.
So I've enforced exclusion from communities.
Okay.
And then to be excluded myself was an eye-opener. Like, I didn't feel like it was justified, but more importantly, I realized how it felt. And that's what it was like, wow, this is sort of like comeuppance. This is like poetic justice. Because I've done this. And I've had closed meetings about people, and we brought that to the people, and it didn't feel good, and like, it was interesting. I think it was well deserved. Like, it was like Robespierre falling by his own guillotine. I was like,
interesting, yeah.
So like, I was a little upset with you and stuff, but I don't think I didn't agree with the discussion, but I agreed with the sentiment. If people feel uncomfortable, then someone has, I don't know, I don't know, it was eye-opening.
To me, it was like, I honestly could have went 50-50 with it because I just don't remember, like, it had something to do with like a lost computer or something like that.
I bought a computer with the Occupy Farms budget.
Okay.
And then I did return it. It was returnable under JNR, but they didn't like the fact that I bought it in the first place.
Oh, okay.
And I was just sort of assertive. I was a financial point person. I was like, we're not using the money. Might as well borrow a computer. But they thought it was too risky because if it was damaged, I would have owed $500.
Oh, okay. See, and I remember you not being allowed to say that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I remember that I was not actually completely sold on the idea of making me leave and stuff like that. But
how skittish? That's what's interesting about, because I try not to have like an ego. So like, I think it's more interesting that's impossible. Like, I try to sublimate it, but it's interesting. The social dynamics were so skittish as a group that when you guys did that, I realized I had made the group nervous of me, which I can't talk my way out of, because obviously it's me that's the problem. I had to leave, and I understood that. And then I looked back on the people we've excluded from groups, and I thought, while you guys were talking about it, I was just reflecting, and afterwards that night I was like, were we skittish and the people we asked to exclude? And I thought that's why it's interesting for like this video I want to share with other people about what we're doing in New York. And I think Occupy in general, I'm pretty sure this has been replicated across the movement. It's just we're all organizing, but we got this NDAA and stuff on top of us.
For sure.
Paranoid.
Yeah.
And we become skittish. And then we push someone out of the group and it's like, I bet you anything, 99% of the time unjustified.
Could be, maybe.
It's crazy. It's just weird, the social dynamics.
I don't know about 99%.
No, maybe not, yeah. But like, at least 2/3 maybe, like.
Yeah, potentially 2/3, yeah.
I don't know, and then to be on the receiving end of that, I think I needed that reality check. Like, it was, I don't know, it's interesting. We won't. But we also had an interesting discussion in the church. You have that book about Gandhi that I should have stolen because you lost it.
Yeah.
Autobiography of Gandhi. The first conversation I had with you, it was on the table, I was going to grab it, and it was, you were reading it.
Right, I remember, yeah.
And then we were in the church talking about whether Occupy should have stayed in the church. So many of these opinions, I've been on one side, and then I completely switched sides. I thought occupiers should stay in the church. Once we got kicked out, I went to National Shelter. I realized how poorly we did at managing shelters.
Okay.
And I realized occupiers shouldn't be. We shouldn't be doing housing because we do such a poor job.
Yeah, so I don't really agree with that. Like, I feel like there should be some regulation on the housing that we do. Make sure, that somebody is involved with the movement with at least, 50% of their energy,
Do you think we should be doing housing? Or?
I think we should be doing housing that, involve, maybe if somebody's putting 50% of their energy into the movement, and there'd be a way to regulate that just by like going through a working group and getting signed into a working group.
The thing I realized is there's so many social services in the city of New York. That's what turned me against. Like I was like, wow, we have so much stuff to do in Occupy. When I actually stayed at shelter, they fed me breakfast and dinner, and I was in a room with 12 people, and I had a shower.
Right.
They just treated me better than Occupy. I was like, whoa, we definitely.
They have more resources, but the thing is with me is that a lot of the shelters, you have to be in at like 7 o'clock or something like that. And as you see right now, I'm here till 10:30 because GA just got over, so it wouldn't make it possible for a lot of the projects that I do. Some of the meetings go from 7 to 10 and stuff like that.
Where are you crashing right now, if you don't mind me asking? I mean, not specifically, but...
I'm staying at a squat right now.
Squat? We're gay squat?
No, not there. But on the 15th, I did get a room.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I'm just waiting till the 15th now.
You're renting a room? Or?
Yeah, I'm going to be renting a room, yeah.
But how do you get an income and also occupy? You don't have to if you don't.
I'm working on a project. And then, so my mother likes, basically investing and me staying here. Basically.
That's cool.
Yeah, like, my mom's really nice. So.
And that's what's hard, is it's hard if you're underprivileged, if you don't have those resources to be involved in the movement. And we all see that.
And, I had a job before I came here, and I had a couple $1,000s, but I've been here for like 4.5 months now, so that's long been gone, yeah.
So that's interesting, just to see what people spend to be a part of this movement.
Yeah. My whole life, I've given most of my energy to wanting to see a better world. And so I feel like this is one of the best chances we got, to really, take our world back from these, dangerous corporations.
And how to do that is what we're struggling right now with, is how to organize ourselves into something that is going to challenge those corporations and those power structures.
Yeah. I mean, I feel the best way is through like, boycotts and, for me I'm a nonviolent protest, But any way to put a wrench in the system, I'm in support of that, other than,
And now the interesting thing, we've been organizing a lot about May.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But then they just moved the GA to Camp David and not
Yeah,
Chicago.
I saw that today.
So that's
they're very threatened by us, sure.
Exactly. And some people were like immediately, let's go to Camp David. And other people like, let's still go to Chicago. But that's why I was a little suspicious of just organizing around one action. Like, I think boycott's awesome. Let's actually hit Walmart. But like, you look at South Africa.
Sure, yeah.
And like how they did it is they shut down for like weeks or months at a time. Like that you really hit their pocketbooks. You ask people, but then that's like really building a movement when you can actually ask large contingencies of people to not shop at Walmart for a couple weeks at a time.
Interesting.
But that's the type of stuff I would organize full time around.
As well as I.
Yeah, a general strike for like May 1st. It doesn't really do it for me. I don't know. But.
I agree. I mean, that's the project I'm working on is actually. I'm organizing like upwards of 1,000 people to do a a hunger strike. Some people would just do a couple days of it. Like, you know, a lot of people would just do like a couple 4 days of it or something like that. But that'll be like the base for the people who do go like a full 21 days. And the idea is that it'll bring national attention to a boycott of the fast food industry.
How many people?
Upwards of 1,000.
That'd be amazing. I'm into fasting. I like that spiritual side of it. Because I'm pretty analytic and my mind, I think a lot. And fasting slows down your mental processes like crazy. Like it clears your head a lot.
Yeah,
like
and it's going to be a juice fast too, so it's not going to be like a water fast, which is like much harder on the, it's basically more difficult, especially for people who aren't familiar with fasting, But
it's sort of sad, but something like that could do with like some like endorsement, like get some big figures to actually go with you.
That's the idea too. Is if we can get like a couple, major entertainers to do a couple days of it.
Yeah.
They're gonna have millions of fans, and the media will be all over it. And that's exactly what we're doing. The Fast Four is to bring attention to the boycott.
I'm really glad we talked to you because this is a little positivity like actions. All day we've been talking about criticism of Occupy Wall Street and so much energy directed inwards, and then you hear something like this and you're like, so much cool shit we could be doing too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like the balance just lately seems like skewed towards what is it? Criticism of Occupy Wall Street. And
the revolution is stressful,
It is.
And I've been going through a good amount of stress, but I try not to focus it on Occupy because I know it's such a new movement, and it's only been with personalities within the movement. It hasn't been with the movement itself.
That's what I'm trying to realize too. A lot of my personal stuff has been personal, and like even with you talking right now, try to bury the stuff and move on. And like I deleted my online accounts because I think I abused them. I was like just like getting name calling, and I was like, well, we have to accept our own limitations,
And I've done the same thing, And in fact, I just apologized to somebody today for basically getting really irritated with them because they asked me to leave a place, and they told me to take my bags, but they had told me it wasn't anything personal, but I had helped them clean the place all day. Then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, you have to take all your stuff with you. Because I knew I had to leave, but usually they let me leave my stuff there. And so I just left my stuff there. And then a couple of days later, I came back to get something out of my stuff. And they're like, yo, we told you to take your stuff, but the person who was like running the place wasn't there. And so this person took it on upon themselves. I felt they were like talking down to me and stuff like that. So I called her a name, But then today I had to, basically make my amends with that community because, I'm not trying to bring my personality, my own personal personality into the stuff that I'm working on, And so like the project is the project and I am me, And so I went and apologized to that person because the manager of that space asked me to, And that person was pissed at me still, But like you said, like I try not to have an ego, I try to swallow my pride. And I wasn't planning on, ever like apologizing to that person, because I felt like they weren't really talking down to me, like I was stupid or something, And but I went and apologized to them because I didn't see any hurt in it, So.
Well, that's how you earn your peace, I think, is because otherwise it eats you up, the animosity. And like when you actually try to do the good faith, even if people don't accept it, at least you're in a little bit of a resolution.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, at least every time I don't see that person, I'm gonna think, oh, there's that fucker. Like I already apologized to them, so let's maintain it and not like inside my own head like think that I have a problem with them.
And then also I'm noticing like the wisdom in getting out of this is so much of us just have so much baggage from society and personal baggage.
Exactly.
This is huge socializing. I'm not a social creature in this type of setting.
Neither am I. So I'm good at talking about like revolution and everything that surrounds that, but it's really always been hard for me, especially as I get more mature, to do small talk. So it's hard for me, even though a lot of these people in here are very interested in like revolutionary ideas. It's hard to make like an affinity with them because I'm not like that into like talking about shit that isn't like projects and stuff, which to most people is boring, but to me that's all that's really relevant because I'm going so hard for this stuff.
Maybe that's like the analytic mindset. It's hard for you to chit chat. I mean, me too. I run with like a small crowd usually, and like with this, I love people and I love the stories, but I just don't like the socialness. And I think so because of that, sometimes I'm more antagonistic than I have to. But we got some good people in this movement who definitely give you a reality check. Who definitely hold up a mirror sometimes because they care about you and they get to know you, and then they're like, "Hey, Shaz, being a bit of a dick," or like with you, I'm sure you got your friends who are like, "Hey," like your friend who asked you to apologize. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool. That's what I hope this is too. It's been a long, emotional day, man. We've got a lot of stories and a lot of like interesting stuff. It's cool. Leave us with something positive, man. Like you already said a bunch of good stuff. Where do you think Occupy is headed? If this is going to be seen by people from other Occupies, what should we tell them about New York or about what they should, about anything, about Occupy?
Yeah, I would say just about Occupy in general because I'm actually from Seattle, Washington. I was living in, Oakland,
West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast, yeah. I was living in Oakland, California before I came to New York. And so I would say for Occupy in general, everybody knows that we have to take the world back from the corporations. Most people know that. The 99% are really going through it. They're finally getting their share that the world's been seeing for hundreds of years. And, most communities have been seeing for hundreds of years. So, if we don't get our world back, soon in the next decade, we may very well be heading for like a really tragic time in the history of mankind, But now this is our chance to point out that the corporations are the real fucking slave owners, and that if we don't get a grip on the corporations, if we don't castrate the corporations from their rule of the earth, then this is our opportunity to do that. And I feel like if we can castrate the corporations, then we're headed to a beautiful earth like we deserve.